Hey, what it do, guys? Your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again, and it is what's today? Saturday. I forget the days of the week now because the holiday. Being off here, going to work here, doing this, doing that. So, um, we are at a situation right now where I don't know where we are right now. You look at this season, and it's been nothing short of a disappointment. I don't even think that. I think disappointment is what's worse than disappointment? Just the epitome of BS. Um, we are tired of a lot of things right now. I know I am for sure, and I see in the comments, I see in the news and the media, everybody's got something to say about Dallas Cowboys. But you know what's saying? You know what's funny? They talk about us like we're the worst team in the league. Because the worst team in the league right now is the Bengals, but you don't hear anything about them. You don't hear nobody talking about how the Seattle lost at home to 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 the Cardinals. You know what I mean? Like nobody's talking about that. Everybody is fighting for a playoff spot. Everybody's fighting for a high seed and a week one bye or whatever the situation may be for that team. But nobody's talking about these things. But every time the Dallas Cowboys falter or something happens, and this is why like people be like, well, how are you guys America's team? This is why. Why do you think that they're talked about every day? Even if there's a Monday night football game, Cowboys not even playing. The announcer, somebody says something about the Dallas Cowboys. They'll be like, oh, this player made a play. He's a former Dallas Cowboy player. Or, they always find a way to throw the Cowboys in it. You look at First Take and Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, when they're talking, everybody's like, well, why are they always talking about the Cowboys? Cowboys is money. That's why. And, I think Dallas Cowboys 1980, shout out to him. I think he mentioned it in one of his videos or his live stream, whatever. We're the most talked about team. And, everybody always say, oh, well, you guys talk about the Super Bowl rings and stuff that you guys had in the past. Well, we still have 5. And we have still one of the most in the league outside of the Steelers and the Patriots. So we're top 3. No matter how long it was since we got it, that doesn't matter. That's the fact that we do have the rings. Now, everybody always says, well, y'all ain't did nothing in 25 years. Y'all ain't been to the NFC Championship game in 23. Yeah, we realize that. We know that. But 1980 said this in his video. He said he was talking to a guy, and the guy was like, said to him about, Dallas Cowboys are delirious. And he was like, what do you mean we're delirious? Like, define delirious. And he said some crap. And then 1980 rebuttal was, and this would have been my same rebuttal, so shout out to him for that and shutting him down. He was like, you are a fan of your team, correct? Yes. You are, you root for your team whether you win or lose, correct? You root for your team whether you didn't make it to the playoffs or whether you didn't make it to the Super Bowl that year, or even if you haven't made it into the Super Bowl in a while, correct? Yes. So how are you going to falter Dallas Cowboy fans for being happy or optimistic about their team when everybody that's a fan of whatever team is optimistic about their team? Redskin fans, they're 3-12, and there's fans out here that still be like, oh, the Cowboys suck, but their team is 3-12. So at the end of the day, you can't. I will never challenge anybody's fandom for their team. I got Redskin fan friends and subscribers. Shout out to y'all. I have friends and fans of other teams, and you never hear me criticize them about their fandom on their team. I think that's the dumbest shit in the world. So just stop doing that. But anywho, I just wanted to just jump on that for a second. Now, as we get into this game, never would have thought that this season would have come down to the Redskins game. Now, the Redskins have 0 to play for. Only thing they're playing for is to lose, and that's so they can continue to get that second spot in the draft so they could go get the Chase guy or whatever to bolster their defense. And the thing about the Redskins, they're kind of similar to the Cowboys in a lot of ways. And the reason why I say this is this. They have a roster. They have a team. They got good players. And I give them credit. And you already know, E2, I keep it real. I always keep it real 24/7. That's all I know how to do. So I give credit where credit's due. And I study other teams and I see other teams and I know what's going on. You look at the Redskins. They have like 6 Alabama defensive guys on their defensive line, and let me tell you something. Montez Sweat, a lot of those guys that they have on their defense, they're going to be good for years to come. Their issues is just like ours, coaching. They don't have leadership over there. And the things that they were doing over there didn't make sense. You benching players just because they don't like them and this and that. It's just ridiculous. And so they gotta have similar issues than us. Now, they are hella banged up, and I'll get into that in this video. Now, Dallas Cowboys come into this game with a 7-8 record, under 500, of course. Go figure. The Washington Redskins, like I said, they're 3-12. They're literally just trying to play for, just to get ready for next year and to get ready for their draft and try to get their roster bolstered up for next year. So, but that don't mean that they're going to lay down, because I don't think they're going to lay down in this game. They're still going to play hard. We're still a division rival, and they're going to try to spoil our vacation. They don't want us to go to the playoffs, just like the Giants don't want the Eagles to go to the playoffs. So this is the reason why both of our games this season, this weekend, is flexed to 4:25 instead of the 1:00 p.m. that it was at already. So, like I said, we've been flexed to 4:25 Eastern Standard Time on Fox Network. Eagles are playing on the same network, so I don't know how that's going to play out when it comes to regions. Like, who are they going to have? Maybe the guys up in Philly and New York, they'll probably see the Eagles game. Since I live in the DMV where the Redskins are, maybe we'll get the Dallas game, hopefully, even though it's a home game for the Cowboys. But still, it's the Redskins, so they normally do it regionally like that. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I gotta go look at the channels and see how they're doing that this week since the games were flexed. Let's see. Dallas Cowboys coming to this still first in offense. Go figure, right? With a 7-8 record. We're 11th on defense, second in passing, and 8th in rushing. The Redskins, and we already know how their season has gone, and them playing different multiple quarterbacks this season has changed a lot of their stat lines and things of that nature. So on offense right now, they're 31st. In defense, they're 25th. In passing, they're dead last at 32nd, and in rushing, they're 21st. Now, you look at a team like that where you have Adrian Peterson. They had Darius Geis. He's been in and out with injuries, and he's injured yet again. They have Chris Thompson. So they have a stable of good running backs. And Adrian Peterson found the fountain of youth, because this guy is the same age as me, and he's out here still balling. And I think that he could still play for more years. I don't think that he's done yet. So shout out to him for that. Dak Prescott comes into this game with a season total so far of 4,599 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, which, of course, last game he didn't score a touchdown, so that stat line stayed the same as far as the touchdowns and the interceptions went, because he didn't throw a pick. Case Keenum only has 1,501 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. That's because he hasn't played all season. He played spot duty. He's switched up between him and Dwayne Haskins. They wanted to give Dwayne Haskins a go because he's a young guy, to try to get him some time behind center in a real game. So then next season when they start him, he can play better. Dwayne Haskins is an ankle injury, so he's not playing. So we're going to be going up against Case Keenum yet again. Case Keenum is not really a bad quarterback, but he's definitely somebody to watch out for. He's a veteran guy, and he knows the game. I would have rather played Haskins, but that's how the ball bounces for the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott has 283 attempts, 1,235 yards, and 11 touchdowns for the year. Adrian Peterson, as I said, found the fountain of youth. He has 198 attempts, 820 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And like I said, guys, because he splits a lot with these other running backs, but that's still pretty good numbers for a veteran guy like him and a guy that doesn't even look like he's winded. Like he's out there, he's like a robot. He's just ready to go all the time. Shout out to Adrian Peterson, man. I got mad love, mad respect for Adrian Peterson. Even at one time where we thought that we were going to get him as a running back that one time before we got Zeke. Yeah, y'all remember that? Yeah. Amari Cooper, same situation. 75 receptions, 1,097 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Now, he is ranked right now 11th in the league as far as wide receivers overall, which is, we criticize Amari Cooper about, his injuries and him not playing and him not being playing well in road games and not putting up the production that he was doing earlier in the season and at the end of last year. We criticized him a lot, but you look at his numbers and where he's ranked right now, he technically still had a pretty good year, guys. So I don't know. We're just very hard on people because I get it. Cowboy fans are just sick of the mediocrity, and I am too. But again, we have to find out what that issue is, and we could debate that all day. Their young guy, Terry McLaurin, 58 receptions, 919 yards, 7 touchdowns. Cowboys catch a break because he's not playing this week because he has a concussion, so he's out. But that is another young guy that they have on their roster that is going to be good for the future. I think that they're going to end up once he's done with his rookie contract, they're going to sign this guy. He is probably going to be their number one at some point in time. He has some real promise. And I know some of you guys probably had him on your fantasy too. See, where am I at? Okay, so let's go back up to some of the stats, right, and stat lines. And some of these things will kind of clarify some of the things that I was saying before about how this team falters and how we got these huge numbers, but right here we're not doing anything. We talk about Dak Prescott being number one in the league in passing. And, some people say he was snubbed for MVP. Now, I don't think that he deserved the MVP because most people that get the MVP have winning records. Now, is the losses all on Dak Prescott? No. Does he contribute to some of the losses? Definitely. Dak does need to play better, but again, I attribute to some of his things as not just, he's got to get better, and I have enough confidence in Dak Prescott to know that he will get better. Again, he's still young in this league. Even though it's his fourth season, he started off from the jump street. He never got a chance to sit behind nobody and learn like most quarterbacks do when they come out. Now, you look at guys that like first round picks, they're expected to start right away. Dak Prescott wasn't picked in the first round for a reason. He had these deficiencies. It took a little time. So not to compare him to a dog, but like when you look at a dog that's a runt, that's pretty much what Dak Prescott is. It just took him a little longer to get things than the other guys. You look at Jared Goff. You look at Carson Wentz. Yes, I will say that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott because, he was picked higher in the draft. And you look at certain situations with Carson Wentz, he can kind of put the team on his back a little bit more than what Dak can do right now. But that's not saying that Dak can't do that. And I'm still riding with my quarterback, Dak Prescott. And I think that at some point in time, he will get to that point. And if you notice, every year he's getting better and better. I think that a lot of his deficiencies is the lack of the coaching him. You see how all of a sudden he did much better as far as with his mechanics and things of that nature, just with John Kitna being hired for this year. And, I believe that you look at Philly and the way that they run their offense, they give more of the reins to Carson Wentz. He has a little bit more, he has less leash than Dak Prescott does. And remember I tell you how Dak Prescott has been handcuffed since he got here. He was handcuffed like hell when Scott Linehan was calling the plays. And he's still strapped down a little bit from Jason Garrett. So I had to attribute some of that stuff to Jason Garrett. Now, I told you guys before what Dak Prescott needs to work on. Everything that Dak Prescott needs to work on is fixable. It's not like it's something where you look at Dak and be like, he can't be the franchise quarterback of this team because he sucks at this and he sucks at that. So when you look at the X's and O's and how he plays and just your knowledge of football and knowing about the game and understanding where he was and where he came from and how he got there, you can kind of get an understanding of where he is now and where he can get to in the future. That's what I'm looking at with Dak Prescott, and I think that just with a little bit more time, and I think they need to go ahead and sign him because he's going to be your franchise quarterback. Who else you going to get? Where we're picking in the draft, whether we win or lose right now, you're not going to get a guy in the draft that's going to be better than Dak Prescott. So you're just going to, what are you going to do? You're not going to get a guy in free agency because you're not going to go buy an aging quarterback that's been with a team for 18 years already and expect him, because again, that's like you're starting over. So if you guys see, that's why some of you guys that say some of this crap, that's why y'all not GMs for teams. And I wouldn't be a GM either. But what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to get to you is, if y'all were to make the decisions, Dallas Cowboys will continue mediocrity. Matter of fact, we wouldn't even be mediocre. We'd be like winning one game, if that. But again, you have to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. So you already know what you got with Dak Prescott. You already know what he can do and what he can get better on. And I know that there's a lot of coaches out there that like him and understand. Because I guarantee you, if you let Dak Prescott go, he's going to be signed to a team tomorrow. So I'm just saying, that'd be a stupid thing to do because there are other teams that are crying for quarterbacks. There's fans of other teams I talk to on a daily that tell me, E2, why your fellow fans don't like Dak? I don't understand that. I would love to have Dak as my quarterback. I don't know. You ask them. So I'm done with dealing with people with the Dak hate. I don't make excuses for anybody because I tell you guys every day, if you listen to my channel and you actually listen to what the hell I'm saying, you already know that when I talk, I talk about the problems that these players have all the time. I don't hide anything. I don't have any reason to sit here because I'm not a homer. You know what I mean? I love my team, but if they messing up, I don't have a problem with speaking on it. You understand what I'm saying? So, there's more than one reason for faults. You can't just look at things like, oh, this one player tore down the whole team. It doesn't work like that in football. It's 47 guys on the field, active on game day, 53 men on your roster, and then that's not including your practice squad. So everybody plays a essential role when they're playing in this game. And everybody's got to be on point. Chemistry is important. Game management, and that's coaching, is important. This is the reason why you have to have a good staff. So, with that being said, you look at how the Cowboys have faltered. The Cowboys have only made the playoffs in 3 of Jason Garrett's full 8 seasons as head coach. And all 3 playoff appearances ended in a division round, meaning we did not go to the title game. We didn't go to the NFC title game. And I think, and a lot of people say, we could debate that too. As Jason Garrett said, we could talk about it over a cup of lemonade or something, whatever crap he talks. But we can sit here and say all day, the only way that Jason Garrett is going to stay if we win a Super Bowl, or the only way Jason Garrett is going to stay is if we win a title game. Or me, in my opinion, I don't give a damn if we win the Super Bowl. I think he's got to go regardless because you need change for change's sake at this time, because you can see the players, it's just stale. They're not enthused by what he has to say. They need more of a coach that's like a Jimmy Johnson type of guy. Not Jimmy Johnson, because again, he ain't coaching no more. So get that out your head. You can get a guy that's similar to him when it comes to attitude and getting these guys to, because if you take something away from a player, that puts them in perspective. And I don't care, all this buddy thing that players have with their coaches and treating one player different than the other, you can't do that. The only way that you treat a player different than the other is by salary. That's it. Everything else, because when you start doing this, when you start letting this player get away with something, but then you fine this player or you prosecute this player or you sit this player out and sit them on a bench or whatever because they did the same thing that your star player did, but your star player, you ain't going to say nothing to him because that's your star. though that favoritism, you can't do that. Like, because again, that tears up a locker room, because that other guy sits back and he be looking at you like, this motherfucker over here doing it. He over here, and you don't want that in your locker room, because what it does is it tears down your locker room. And this is coming from a guy that's played football and been on an organized football team. And when you see stuff like that, and it's not just football, it happens in basketball, it happens in different sports. When a coach favors a person, or the owner favors somebody, or somebody on the staff favors a player over another, it tends to get jealousy, and it's like, okay, well, I'm getting in trouble for the same thing this dude do. He late all the time, but I'm late once, but I get fined and I get suspended for a game. Like, come on now. So, you got to look at things like that. Like, that tears up the monotony of a team, and you don't want that at all. You don't want that. So I just feel like Garrett's words are just up and over the hill at this point. We just need to get somebody to come in here and just change that perception. The Cowboys lead the NFL with 39 drop passes this season. God. So when you look at the numbers, none of it makes sense. We're first in offense and second in passing, but at the same time, we lead the league in drop passes by 39. Wow. Yeah. Dak can throw the ball, but he sure can't catch it. So these receivers and these tight ends and running backs got to catch the ball. And everybody on that offense that's gotten the pass from Dak Prescott has dropped that ball multiple times. Everybody is to fault. Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, everybody. Amari Cooper, especially Gallup. Randall Cobb, especially Randall Cobb. These guys have the most drop passes. So when you look at that and you look at how good these guys are, it's like, is your head not in the game? Are you injured? Because tell the truth, because the fans want to know the truth. Now, I understand that there's a narrative of a player that is not going to use injury as an excuse. I get that. But at some point in time, it has to be the excuse, because when you're injured, especially at the wide receiver position, that's got to be duly noted. Because when we see a deficiency like that in a wide receiver that we know that can catch the ball, that we know that's good, and all of a sudden he's messing up, and you just start to question, like, what's going on? Like, but, that's neither here nor there. Now, when you look at the injuries, right? I'm sorry. Ezekiel Elliott is another fun fact. He has 5 games this season with fewer than 60 rushing yards. Think about that. Now, that's about scheming. And I know that some of the games we were behind, but just because you're a touchdown behind, I've noticed they do this, and I'm talking about the coaching staff. If we're down a touchdown, they start panicking already, and they're like, they abandon the run. We abandoned the run too much. Just because the run isn't working that you're doing, okay, just stop running it straight up the gut. Do some misdirection. Do some end around. Do something. Pitch it out wide. Like, change the way that you're running the ball. There's different ways that you can do it. But again, we don't scheme. We don't disguise coverages on defense. We don't disguise what we're doing on offense. We just kind of just go out there and we just do it. And we lost touch of play action, which works for us. And I don't understand when you do something that works, and then when you see that you done got up a score or it worked this game, and then you come back that next week and play a different team, and you just stop doing it. Because in your mind, you're thinking, well, if we do that again, they'll be looking for that. Not really, because they know the Dallas Cowboys are going to go back to the bullshit. They know that they're going to go back to, we're just going to pound the rock into the wall and see what happens, but it doesn't work like that. But, it is what it is. When you look at those 5 games with fewer than 60 rushing yards for Ezekiel Elliott in this season alone, he's only done that 4 times before this in the 3 years prior to this total. So in 5 games this season, he had less than 60 yards. He only did that 4 times before that. Put that in perspective. Like, wow. Talk about loss of production. And I don't think that's Zeke's fault. That's more so of scheming and them not getting the ball. And I understand that, like, you got Tony Pollard, but you can still use Tony Pollard with Ezekiel Elliott. There's no reason why his numbers have to falter just because you got Tony Pollard. You got to be smart and use them in ways that make sense, guys. Come on, team, coaches. What are y'all doing? Y'all getting paid millions. Figure it out. It's not rocket science. If a guy like me can figure it out, and I ain't never been a coach, I just played football, but I never been a coach. If I can figure something out like this and I'm a nobody, why the hell can't y'all figure this out? Please answer me that question. It is what it is. So lastly, I want to talk about the injuries. So it's funny because all of a sudden it's the end of the season. All these injuries pop up, right? That we didn't know about. Tyron Smith, he had back issue. He's questionable, but he's gonna play. Byron Jones, ankle, he's questionable. He may or may not play. Joe Thomas, he's out. He's still dealing with that knee thing. And Antoine Woods, hip, he's questionable, but hopefully he plays. You look at and I forgot to say this, you look at the Redskins side of the ball, they have a lot of injuries. You look at how much of key players are not playing this game, and you sit here as a Cowboy fan, you say, there's no way we can lose this game. But I feel like it's deja vu because we said the same thing last week by playing against an Olympic Eagles team and you still lost to them. So I really have no confidence in this team right now until they show me different. And I don't want to see just one game different. I want to see you do it in a stretch. I want to see that you've gotten over the hump. But it's a 2% chance, like 2% milk. Like 2% milk. It's a 2% chance that they're going to get over the hump with Jason Garrett. It ain't nothing better dramatically gonna happen until he's gone. That's just the way I feel about it. Yeah, you may win this game, but that doesn't change my perception on what's been going on this season because it's been disappointing. And I can speak for all the fans when I say that we're tired of this shit. All right. You look at their injuries, which is a lot. We talked about Terry McLaurin. I said that he's not playing because he has a concussion. Troy Apke, I think that's how you pronounce it. DB, he's questionable with a knee. Landon Collins, he's out with a shoulder injury. Morgan Moses, he's questionable with a knee injury. Dwayne Haskins, they're gonna go ahead and shelf him with an ankle injury. That's why we're playing against Case Keenum this week. Doggone it, we're not gonna get Haskins. Oh well. And Josh Norman, his bum ass is out too. So he has an illness, guys. He's sick, so he's not gonna play. Last thing. So the Cowboys made a move. They released Josh Jones, safety. I kind of like the guy, but maybe they'll bring him back for the future because it's the end of the season. They promoted Donovan Alumba from the practice squad, so he's going to get some playing time. That being if Byron Jones doesn't play like that. So I'm not going to do no predictions in this game because I really don't give a damn at this point. It's right. So at this point, They got, like I just told you, they got to show me something different. And there's no reason why you should lose to the Redskins with all these damn injuries that they have. They have nobody playing. And again, like I said this last week with the Eagles and we still lost. So if the Cowboys want to go to the playoffs, if they want to figure something out, then they need to win this game. And I think that the Giants can actually beat the Eagles because the Eagles are really limping. They're even limping even more than they were last week with us. But the Giants have a great rookie quarterback in Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley ran like a monster last week. So if he has a game like he had last week, they're going to beat the Eagles, and that means the Cowboys take the back door into the playoffs. And are we going to do anything? Probably not. Are we gonna make it past the division round? Probably not.
Keep the faith.
Damn that. But anyway, it's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all soon.